I walked into the marble lobby of the hospital, my heels clicking against the pristine floor, only to find my past waiting for me. My mother stood there clad in designer clothes like armor, while my father checked his luxury watch with an air of absolute authority. They were demanding to see the chief of cardiac surgery, the brilliant young medical prodigy who had just dominated the local news cycle. They had no idea that this world-renowned surgeon was the grandson they had thrown away 2 decades ago. 20 years prior, I was a terrified 17-year-old girl holding a positive pregnancy test in their pristine, chandelier-lit living room. My mother had looked at me with pure disgust, claiming no daughter of hers could ever be so incredibly common or reckless. My father did not bother raising his voice because shouting was entirely beneath his dignity. Instead, he calmly packed my suitcase and set it by the front door. He gave me exactly 10 minutes to leave, flipping our family portrait face down on the mantelpiece. The boy who had promised to love me forever blocked my number the very same day, completely protected by his wealthy family and their high-priced attorneys. I spent my first night of freedom sleeping on a cold park bench, using my single suitcase as a makeshift pillow. 3 days later, a kind elderly woman named Elena Rossi found me shivering in the dawn mist and refused to let me freeze. She took me into her massive, quiet home, wrapped me in warmth, and gave me a safe place to breathe. Elena had tragically lost her own pregnant daughter years before, and she saw my rescue as a way to honor that beautiful memory. She provided a gorgeous nursery, helped me secure my education, and eventually taught me how to manage her successful restaurant empire from the ground up. When my son, Logan, arrived during a winter storm, Elena held my hand through the grueling labor and became his fiercely devoted grandmother. Logan was a natural prodigy, reading advanced books before kindergarten and eventually earning early admission to medical school. Everything shifted when the morning newspaper ran a massive front-page feature detailing how a 20-year-old genius had become the youngest surgical chief in state history. Logan's picture was everywhere, proudly using my maiden name, which instantly alerted the biological parents who had erased me from their lives. Within 48 hours, my phone buzzed with a voicemail from my mother, who suddenly referred to Logan as their grandson. They sent a formal email from their corporate address at Vance Enterprises, suggesting it was finally time for a family reunion. My trusted attorney and partner, Caleb, found me trembling with absolute rage in my restaurant office after reading their clinical, self-serving messages. He reminded me that Elena had anticipated this exact scenario years ago, when she carefully structured her final will and testament.
Meanwhile, my biological parents began stalking us, leaving expensive gifts at the hospital and even sending a legal demand for grandparent visitation rights. Caleb laughed aloud at their legal threats, pulling out the old document where they had completely relinquished all parental rights. The situation escalated dramatically when my high school ex-boyfriend, Owen, called me out of nowhere at 2 in the morning, sounding desperate. He claimed he wanted to know his biological son now that his own tech startup had completely collapsed into bankruptcy. I soon discovered that my parents had actually hired Owen as a corporate family relations consultant to help them manipulate me. They were coordinating an entire public relations campaign behind my back, proving that they cared only about protecting their corporate image. The following Tuesday, my parents marched directly into the hospital VIP lounge, loudly announcing their wealthy identity to anyone within earshot. They demanded to see Logan, causing an immediate scene that drew a crowd of onlookers and prompting bystanders to record the confrontation. When Logan finally emerged from a grueling pediatric surgery, he looked at the elegant strangers with pure detachment and quietly asked security to remove them. Refusing to back down, my parents immediately called a local news crew to the parking lot to play the victims. That evening, they appeared on television, tearfully claiming that a simple teenage misunderstanding had kept them from their beloved grandchild for 20 long years. The public backlash was immediate, causing the hospital administrator to nervously suggest that we hold a supervised meeting to protect their major donors. Logan came home completely exhausted from the media circus, his surgeon hand steady, but his eyes filled with deep emotional fatigue. Caleb gently handed him the original paperwork from 2004, allowing my son to read the cruel words his grandparents had signed. Logan read the clinical text aloud, realizing they had legally abandoned him before he was even born, which solidified his resolve. He revealed that he already knew about Owen's identity through online research and had noticed his biological father viewing his professional profile. Caleb then explained the brilliant terms of Elana's will, which left a $15 million estate to Logan while completely barring his biological relatives. We agreed to meet my parents at a high-end restaurant the next day, entirely ready to settle the matter on our own terms.
My father wasted no time pushing a legal contract across the white tablecloth, offering a $5 million trust fund in exchange for a public reconciliation. They explained that Vance Enterprises was launching a public stock offering next month, and a 3-generation family photo would look excellent to investors. When I brought up Owen's paid involvement, my mother's polished composure fractured slightly, though she quickly claimed it was all a massive misunderstanding. Caleb calmly smiled, pulling out copies of their private corporate emails that proved they had actively planned this entire deception.